Alright. Buckle up. Because this one is next level insane. Picture this: sirens screaming. Red lights pulsing. A fire truck barreling down Main Street toward a house fire where every second counts. Lives are hanging in the balance. And one woman decides, she doesn't have to move. She doesn't have to yield. She's Karen Whitaker. And the world is supposed to bend to her schedule. It started like any other Tuesday for Karen. 48 years old. Divorced. Always perfectly highlighted hair. Designer sunglasses even when it's cloudy. She lived in a gated community where everyone knew her as the one who always gets her way. Neighbors whispered about her. Cashiers at the grocery store flinched when she walked in. She once made a teenage barista cry because her latte wasn't hot enough. Karen didn't just complain, she demanded apologies. Refunds. And sometimes even the manager's job. That morning she was already fuming. Her favorite nail salon had the audacity to tell her she'd have to wait 10 minutes because they were running behind. 10 minutes. She'd stormed out, slamming the door so hard the bell jingled for a full 30 seconds. "You'll be hearing from my lawyer," she'd yelled over her shoulder. The poor receptionist just stared, mouth open. Karen climbed into her SUV, a gleaming black Escalade she'd bought specifically because it made her feel powerful, and peeled out of the parking lot. Her blood was boiling. She muttered to herself the whole drive. "I'm not waiting for anyone. Not today. Not ever." Her knuckles were white on the wheel. Every red light felt personal. Every car in front of her was an insult. Then she hit the intersection of Main and Elm. Traffic was backed up. Not because of construction. Not because of an accident. Because of the fire truck. The big red engine had just turned onto Main. Sirens wailing. Lights strobing. Cars were pulling over, clearing the way like they're supposed to. Everyone except Karen. She saw the truck. She heard the siren. She knew what it meant. But in her mind, that fire was someone else's problem. Her appointment at the upscale boutique across town was in 20 minutes. And she wasn't about to be late because some house was burning down. So she laid on the horn. Long, angry blasts. "Move," she screamed out the window. Even though no one could hear her over the siren. The driver behind her gave her a confused look. A pedestrian on the sidewalk shook his head. The fire truck slowed. The driver clearly trying to navigate the bottleneck. Karen saw her opening. A tiny gap on the right. She gunned the engine, tires squealing, and tried to squeeze past. The fire truck driver hit the brakes. The engine lurched to a stop. Karen slammed on her brakes too. But not because she was being safe. She was furious. "You think you can just block the whole road?" she yelled. Even though the windows were up. "I have places to be." She threw the SUV into reverse, tires smoking. Then jerked it forward again. She was trying to intimidate the fire truck. Like it was another soccer mom she could bully out of a parking spot. That's when it happened. In a moment of pure, blind rage, Karen floored the gas. Not to escape. Not to go around. She aimed straight at the side of the fire truck. The impact was sickening. Metal screamed against metal. The Escalade's front end crumpled like tinfoil. The fire truck rocked sideways, its heavy frame barely budging. But the side panel dented inward with a deep, hollow boom. Airbags exploded in Karen's face. The smell of burned rubber and hot metal filled the cabin. Her head snapped forward, then back. Horns blared. Sirens kept wailing. People screamed. For a split second, everything went quiet in Karen's head. Just the ringing in her ears and the taste of blood from biting her tongue. Then reality crashed back in. Firefighters jumped out of the truck. One of them, a young guy named Mike, ran to her window. "Ma'am, are you okay?" Can you hear me? Karen shoved the airbag away. Mascara streaking down her cheeks. This is your fault, she shrieked. You blocked the road. You made me hit you. Mike stared at her like she'd grown a second head. Ma'am, we're responding to a fire. You rammed us. I didn't ram anyone. Karen snapped, fumbling for her phone. I'm calling the police. You're going to pay for this. The firefighters exchanged looks. One of them was already on the radio, calling for backup and a second engine to continue to the fire. The house was still burning. And now their truck was damaged. Time was slipping away. Bystanders had their phones out. Videos were already going viral. Karen just hit a fire truck, someone shouted. Laughter rippled through the crowd. Karen stepped out of her wrecked SUV, wobbling on her heels. She pointed at the firefighters. You should have moved. I have rights. A police cruiser screeched to a stop. 2 officers got out, hands on their belts. One of them recognized her. Mrs. Whitaker again. Karen puffed up. These men assaulted me with their vehicle. The officer sighed. He'd taken reports from her before, noise complaints that were really just her neighbors barbecuing. Shoplifting accusations that turned out to be her forgetting her own bags. He looked at the crumpled Escalade. The dented fire truck. The crowd filming. Ma'am, he said quietly. Step over here. Karen refused. She kept yelling. About her rights. About how she was the victim. About how everyone was conspiring against her. The second officer started reading her rights. She laughed in disbelief. You're arresting me? For what? Reckless driving. Assault with a deadly weapon. Obstructing emergency personnel. And probably a few more by the time we're done. Karen's face went pale. For the first time, the reality hit her. The wrecked car. The flashing lights. The angry crowd. The firefighters who were now climbing back into their damaged truck, trying to salvage the response. She started crying. Not quiet tears. Loud, dramatic sobs. This isn't fair. I didn't mean to, I was in a hurry. The officers cuffed her gently but firmly. She kept talking, even as they put her in the back of the cruiser. You don't understand. I have an appointment. My lawyer is going to destroy you. The cruiser pulled away. The crowd cheered. Back at the scene, the fire truck limped toward the house fire. They made it in time. The family got out safely. No one died. But the damage was done. Karen's story didn't end with the arrest. The video exploded online. Millions of views. Karen versus fire truck trended for days. News stations picked it up. Local reporters interviewed the firefighters. Mike, the young one, said simply, we train for fires. Not for people who think the rules don't apply to them. Karen's mugshot went everywhere. She looked stunned. Hair messed up. Mascara ruined. The comments were brutal. Play stupid games. Win stupid prizes. That's what happens when entitlement meets physics. The legal fallout was swift and merciless. Her insurance denied the claim, deliberate act. The Escalade was totaled. She owed thousands in repairs to the fire truck. The city sued her for obstructing emergency services. The district attorney added felony charges. Her lawyer tried to spin it. My client was under extreme emotional distress. The judge wasn't buying it. Neither was the jury. She lost her job. Turns out her boss had been looking for an excuse. Her friends distanced themselves. Even her own sister stopped taking her calls. Months later, Karen sat in a courtroom, wearing a plain gray jumpsuit. No makeup. No highlights. The judge read the sentence, 2 years probation. Community service at the local fire station. mandatory anger management, and a permanent mark on her record. As she left the courthouse, a reporter asked, "Do you have any regrets?" Karen looked at the ground. For once, she didn't yell. She didn't demand. She just whispered, "I thought the world owed me everything. Turns out it doesn't." She walked away slowly. Shoulders slumped. The weight of her choices finally heavier than her ego. And somewhere out there, a fire truck rolled down the street. Sirens clear. Lights flashing. No one blocking the way. Because sometimes justice isn't loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's just the quiet thud of consequences finally catching up. The end.